Have you ever had a day where you were busy from sunrise to sunset, but at the end of it, you couldn't point to a single meaningful thing you accomplished? You answered 100 emails, sat in 3 hours of meetings, and juggled a dozen small tasks. You felt exhausted, but not fulfilled. You were active, but you weren't truly productive. This used to be my default state. I would wake up, grab my phone, and my day would be immediately hijacked by the demands of others. I thought peak performance was about cramming more into every minute. I thought it was about willpower and hustle, but I was wrong. I eventually learned that peak performance isn't about managing your time. It's about managing your energy. Our brains and bodies have natural cycles of focus, creativity, and fatigue. The secret to a highly effective day is not to fight against these cycles, but to design your day in harmony with them. Today, I'm going to walk you through the exact system I use to organize my entire day. It's a framework built around 4 distinct blocks, each with its own purpose, routines, and principles. This is the system that took me from feeling constantly reactive and drained to feeling intentional, focused, and in control. This is how I structure my day for peak performance. The first, and by far the most important block of my day, is the morning deep work block. This typically runs from about 8 a.m. to 12 p.m. The principle here is simple. The first few hours of my workday are when my focus, willpower, and creative energy are at their absolute peak. These hours are golden. They are a finite resource, and I protect them ferociously. This time is reserved exclusively for my most cognitively demanding work, the work that requires deep, uninterrupted concentration. But this block doesn't just start when I open my laptop. It begins with a carefully designed launch sequence to prime my brain for focus. The first rule is the most important. I do not look at my phone for at least the first hour I am awake. Checking email or social media first thing in the morning is like giving the keys to your day to 1,000 different people. It instantly puts you in a state of reaction, and it's incredibly difficult to recover from that. Instead, my launch sequence is all about my physical and mental state. I start by drinking a large glass of water to rehydrate. Then, I do about 10 minutes of light stretching or go for a very short walk outside. The goal is to get my blood flowing and wake up my body. Next is fuel. I have a protein-rich, low-sugar breakfast to provide stable energy and avoid a mid-morning crash. And the final step of the launch sequence, right before I begin work, is to review the single most important task for the day. I decided on this task the night before, so there's no time wasted wondering where to start. With that one priority fresh in my mind, I'm ready to begin. The deep work session itself is typically 2 90-minute blocks with a 15-minute break in between. During these blocks, I create a fortress against distraction. My phone is in another room. All notifications on my computer are turned off. I close every browser tab that is not directly related to the task at hand. This is non-negotiable. The work I do here is strategic. It's writing, it's coding, it's analyzing complex data, it's developing a new strategy. It's the work that, if I do nothing else all day, will still make the day a success. After these 3 to 4 hours of intense, focused work, I have already accomplished more than I used to in an entire 8-hour day of reactive chaos. I take a real, meaningful lunch break, completely away from my desk, to signal the end of this block. This brings us to the second block of the day, the afternoon shallow work block, from about 1 p.m. to 5 p.m. We have to be realistic. After lunch, our bodies naturally experience a dip in energy. Our focus isn't as sharp. Fighting this is a losing battle. So instead of trying to force more deep work, I align my tasks with this lower energy state. This block is for shallow work. Shallow work isn't unimportant work. It's just work that doesn't require sustained, deep concentration. This includes things like answering emails, attending meetings, making phone calls, filling out reports, and doing administrative tasks. The key technique I use here is called batching. I don't let these tasks interrupt me throughout the day. I group them together. For example, I do not have my email open all day. I process my email in 2 dedicated 30-minute blocks in the afternoon. All of my meetings are scheduled, whenever possible, between 2 p.m. and 4 p.m. By batching these activities, I avoid context switching, which is the mental cost of jumping from one type of task to another. It's far more efficient to stay in meeting mode for 2 hours than to have meetings scattered throughout the day, constantly breaking your focus. Around 3 p.m., when the afternoon slump is usually at its worst, I schedule a 15-minute reset. This is not a lazy break, it's a strategic intervention. I'll go for a brisk walk outside to get some sunlight, I'll have a healthy snack like an apple and some nuts, or I'll do a 10-minute guided meditation. This simple reset acts like a second wind, providing the energy needed to finish the afternoon strong instead of just fading away. The third block is the evening recharge block, which begins the moment the workday ends. A peak performance day is not just about what you do during work hours, it's equally about how effectively you recover and recharge after. Your ability to perform at your best tomorrow is directly dependent on your ability to disconnect today. The transition from work to personal life must be sharp and definitive. To accomplish this, I use a shutdown complete ritual, a concept from the author Cal Newport. At the end of my workday, I take 10 minutes to perform a shutdown sequence. I do a final quick scan of my inbox for anything truly urgent. I close all the tabs on my computer. I look at my task list, acknowledge what I accomplished, and then, most importantly, I create a loose plan for tomorrow and identify that one thing I'll tackle in my morning deep work block. Then, I close my laptop and I actually say the words out loud, shutdown complete. This simple verbal cue is a powerful signal to my brain that the workday is officially over. There is no more just checking one more email. From this point on, the evening is dedicated to restorative, non-digital activities. This is time for connecting with my family and friends. It's time for hobbies, like playing the guitar or reading a physical book. It's time for exercise, if I didn't get it in the morning. And it's time for cooking and enjoying a healthy meal. The goal is to allow my brain to completely switch off from professional problem solving and enter a state of rest and recovery. The final block of the day is the nightly shutdown, which covers the last 60 to 90 minutes before I go to sleep. Sleep is the ultimate performance-enhancing tool. It's when your body repairs itself and your brain consolidates memories and learns. High-quality sleep is not an optional luxury. It is an absolute necessity for peak performance. Therefore, my final hour of the day is all about creating the optimal conditions for deep, restorative sleep. The number one rule for this block is no screens. That means no phone, no tablet, no television. The blue light emitted by these devices disrupts your body's production of melatonin, the hormone that helps you sleep. Instead, I focus on calming activities. I dim the lights throughout my home to signal to my body that it's time to wind down. I might take a warm shower, which can help lower your body temperature and promote sleep. I'll often read a fiction book, something that is engaging but not mentally taxing like a non-fiction or work-related book would be. The very last thing I do before turning off the lights is a quick brain dump in a journal. I write down any lingering thoughts, ideas, or worries that are still floating around in my head. The act of getting them out of my mind and onto paper prevents them from keeping me up at night. Then, I go to bed at a consistent time, even on weekends. This helps to regulate my body's internal clock, making it easier to fall asleep and wake up naturally. So that is the framework. The morning deep work block to tackle your most important challenges. The afternoon shallow work block to efficiently manage the necessary, less demanding tasks. The evening recharge block to disconnect and recover. And the nightly shutdown to optimize for high-quality sleep. This system is not about being a robot. It's not about perfection. It's a framework, not a prison. Life happens, and some days will be messier than others. But the goal is to have a structure to return to. A structure that is intentionally designed to align with your natural energy, protect your focus, and ensure that you are not just busy, but truly effective. Start by trying to implement just one of these blocks, and I promise you will feel the difference.